3 months later, Sarah's belly rounds with new life, her body finally showing the promise it carries. She kneels beside Emma's spring, tending a small garden that grows green and strong in the rich mountain soil. Water tastes different now. Jacob joins her in the morning light, coffee cup warming his weathered hands. How so? Sweeter. Like hope tastes, I imagine. He watches her gentle hands coax vegetables from the earth, the same dark soil that swallowed Thomas Hendricks whole and sealed his evil forever. You regret staying? Sarah considers this question while pulling weeds from between the tomato plants. Sometimes I dream about leaving, going to California, maybe, starting fresh where nobody knows the story or remembers the names. But this is where it ends. The cycle, the curse, whatever you want to call what the Hendricks family did to women like us. You sure about that? She touches her belly, feels movement beneath her palm. This baby deserves to grow up somewhere the Hendricks name is just a bad memory collecting dust. Might take time for folks to forget. I got time. A letter arrived last week from the state capitol. They appointed a new sheriff from 2 counties over. A good man, the letter said. Fair and honest. You hear about the new lawman? I heard. You worried about him asking questions? Should I be? Not unless you plan on breaking laws. Sarah laughs, the sound carrying across the clearing like music. First time Jacob's heard that sound from her lips, like silver bells ringing in a church tower. What if it's a girl? The baby? Yeah. Then she'll be strong, like her mama was, like her mama is. And if it's a boy, then he'll learn respect. From both of us. Learn how to treat women like human beings instead of property. Sarah nods toward the cabin where Emma once lived and loved and died. Emma would approve, you think? I think Emma sent you to me. You believe that? That the dead can guide the living? I believe the mountain knows what it's doing. Always has. They sit in comfortable silence, watching the spring flow clear and constant. Clear water from dark earth. New life from old ground where death once ruled. Jacob? Yeah, thank you. For what? For seeing me as more than just another victim in the Hendricks family pattern. You were never just a victim, Sarah. You were always a survivor, even when you didn't know it yourself. She leans against his shoulder, solid and warm as the mountain itself. Feels the baby kick strong against her ribs. We both were, in Emma's spring. 2 faces reflect back at them, weathered man and growing woman. Future stretching before them like the clear mountain water flowing toward the valley below. Let me go. No, this is my fight. Like hell. He's right about one thing. I am his wife in the eyes of the law. Fuck the law. Jacob, look at me. He turns. Her face is calm now, resolved like still water before a storm. I won't let you die for me like Emma did. Emma didn't die for me. She died because I was too weak to protect her. And I won't make you live with that guilt twice. Before Jacob can stop her, Sarah opens the door, steps onto the porch like she's walking to her own execution. Thomas. Hendricks smiles like a snake tasting prey. There's my bride. I'll come with you. Sarah, no. Jacob raises his rifle, but she's already moving. But I got conditions. Hendricks laughs, the sound ugly in the morning air. You ain't in a position to make conditions. Maybe not, but Jacob is. She looks back at Jacob, eyes fierce as wildfire. Tell him, Jacob. Tell him about the pictures. Jacob understands her plan. His voice carries across the clearing like a judge reading sentence. 7 women, Hendricks. 7 women who look just like her. What the hell are you talking about? Pictures in your desk. Dark-haired women who married your family and disappeared. Hendricks' face goes pale as winter snow. His men look at each other with uncertainty creeping into their eyes. You been in my office? Didn't have to be. Sarah told me everything. She's lying. But doubt creeps into his men's faces like poison in well water. Old Pete shifts in his saddle, remembering stories his grandmother told. Thomas. What's he talking about? Nothing. Just desperate lies. Sarah steps forward, her voice carrying across the years. Your daddy's first wife, Thomas. What happened to her? Died in childbirth. And his second? Accident. And your granddaddy's wives. Hendricks pulls his gun, metal gleaming in the pale light. Shut up. But it's too late. The seeds of doubt are planted deep. His men know the stories, the whispers, the pattern of dead women stretching back generations like a curse. Sarah, Jacob calls softly, get behind me. Instead, she steps closer to Hendricks, close enough to see the madness in his eyes. I'll come with you, Thomas. But know this. If I die, everyone will know why. You think threats scare me, girl? Hendricks cocks his pistol with deliberate slowness, points the barrel directly at Sarah's chest, right where her heart beats wild with fear. Thomas, don't. Old Pete's voice wavers like a man watching his own damnation. She's carrying your child. Child's better off dead than raised by a whore. The words hit Sarah like a physical blow. She staggers backward, hand flying to her belly protectively. That's enough. Jacob steps onto the porch, rifle raised and ready. His finger finds a trigger with 20 years of buried rage. Back inside, old man. Make me? Thunder rumbles across the clear sky, though no clouds darken the morning light. The horses dance nervously, sensing something their riders cannot. Something ain't right, mutters one of the farm hands, looking around with growing unease. You feel that? The ground trembles beneath their feet, just slightly, just enough to notice if you're paying attention. Earthquake, says the banker's son, but his voice carries no conviction. But Jacob knows better. He's felt this trembling before, 20 years ago on the night Emma died. Sarah, get inside. Now. No. She straightens her spine, faces Hendricks with newfound steel in her voice. I got something to say first. You said enough. Emma Miller. That was your daddy's first choice, wasn't it, Thomas? Before he settled for the blacksmith's daughter? Hendricks' gun wavers in his grip, like a compass seeking true north. How do you know that name? Because she visits me, in dreams, shows me pictures of all the others who came before. You're crazy. Maybe, or maybe the mountain keeps its own records of every sin committed on its slopes. The wind picks up suddenly, carrying the scent of old graves and older sins down from the high places. Beth Carver, 1847. Your great-granddaddy's first wife. Stop. Mary Washington, 1851. His second bride who lasted only 6 months. I said stop. Catherine Bell, 1863. Your granddaddy's first attempt at. Shut up. Hendricks fires wild. The bullet goes wide, splinters beside Sarah's head in a shower of pine fragments. Jacob's rifle booms in response. Hendricks spins, clutches his shoulder, but somehow stays standing on his feet. Kill them both. Hendricks shouts to his men, but his posse hesitates. The names Sarah spoke echo in their minds like church bells tolling for the dead. Local legends. Ghost stories their grandmothers whispered, except they're not stories at all. Thomas. Old Pete says quietly, his voice filled with dawning horror. My grandmother was Mary Washington. Mine was Catherine Bell, whispers a younger farmhand, his face pale as winter snow. The mountain trembles again, harder this time. A low moan rises from the earth itself, like the mountain is waking from a long sleep. You feel that? Sarah's voice carries strange power now, ancient as the hills around them. That's their voices, Thomas. All of them, calling for justice. Cracks appear in the ground beneath the nervous horses. They rear in panic, eyes rolling white. 2 riders are thrown hard to the earth. What the hell? The banker's son fights desperately to control his terrified mount. Jacob sees his chance, charges down the porch steps like a man half his age, tackles Hendricks around the waist. They roll in the dirt, fighting for control of the fallen gun. Sarah grabs a pistol from where it landed, stands over the 2 struggling men with the weapon trembling in her small hands. Thomas. He looks up at her, Jacob's weather hands wrapped tight around his throat. This ends with me. The gun shakes in her grip. Jacob releases Hendricks, rolls away from the line of fire. Sarah, don't. Don't become like them. Tears streamed down her face, cutting clean tracks through the dirt on her cheeks. He killed them all. He'll kill me too. Maybe, but not like this. The ground splits open with a sound like the world breaking. A fissure runs from the tree line straight to the cabin, passes directly under where Hendricks lies gasping. He scrambles backward on hands and knees. What the hell is happening? From deep in the fissure comes the sound of rushing water, an underground stream, freed after decades of being trapped beneath stone and soil. Well, Jacob says, sudden understanding flooding his voice. Emma's well, the one your daddy had filled in after she died. The water rises clear and cold, bubbling up to the broken earth. Hendricks tries to run, but the ground crumbles beneath his boots. Help me! He reaches desperately toward his men, but they're already fleeing, their horses wild with supernatural terror. Thomas Hendricks. Sarah's voice carries ancient authority, older than law or badge or gun. The mountain claims its due. The earth opens wider like hungry jaws. Hendricks falls with a scream that cuts short when the rushing water claims him. In seconds, it's over. The ground seals itself as if nothing happened. Only a small spring remains, bubbling peacefully in the morning light. Sarah drops the gun, falls to her knees beside the new spring. Jacob kneels beside her, his hand gentle on her shoulder. It's over. She looks at the clear water, then places both hands on her belly. No, it's just beginning. Finally, Hendricks backs toward the door, his smile sharp as broken glass. She can't hide forever, Jacob. Mountains only so big. Big enough. You're making a mistake. Won't be my first. Hendricks tips his hat with mock courtesy. Won't be your last either. The door slams like a gunshot. Jacob waits until the hoofbeats fade into mountain silence before speaking. Sarah, come out. She emerges from the back room, shaking like a leaf in winter wind. He'll be back. I know. With more men. I know. Why you helping me? Jacob looks at her. Young, frightened, brave. Just like Emma was 20 years ago. Because someone should have helped my wife. Sarah sits by the fire, flames dancing shadows across her hollow face. Jacob settles across from her in Emma's old chair, the wood worn smooth by 20 years of grief. The silence between them carries weight. Tell me about her. Emma? Your wife. Jacob stares into the flames like they hold answers to questions he's afraid to ask. She was 17 when she came to me. Same words you spoke. Same desperate look in her eyes. What was she running from? Sheriff Hendricks, the old man, current deputy's father. Sarah's blood turns to ice water in her veins. Same family. 3 generations of badges and brutality. What happened to Emma? Jacob's voice goes flat, distant, like he's reading from a newspaper clipping. She was the blacksmith's daughter. Old man Hendricks decided he wanted her for his second wife. His first one died under suspicious circumstances. Did she come willing? Hell no. She fought him every way she could. Her father tried to protect her. But what's a blacksmith against the sheriff of the posse? Sarah leans forward, firelight catching the silver of her locket. So she ran. Straight up this mountain to my door, just like you did. And you took her in. Married her within the week. Thought that would protect her from his claim. Didn't it? Jacob's laugh is bitter as winter wind. For a while, we had 2 good years. Emma made this place a home instead of just 4 walls and a roof. She was carrying our child when everything went to hell. His voice breaks like thin ice. When what? Hendricks came with a posse. Said I'd stolen his property. Said the marriage wasn't legal since he'd already claimed her under some old territorial law. That's not how law works. It is when you wear the badge and carry the guns. Sarah's hand finds her locket, fingers closing around the tarnished silver. They took her. They tried. Emma grabbed my hunting rifle. Told him she'd rather die than go back to that monster. Jesus. Hendricks laughed. Said that could be arranged easy enough. His deputy, current sheriff's older brother, he was drunk and mean as a snake. He rushed her while she held the gun. Jacob's hands shake now like autumn leaves. The gun went off. Emma fell. Deputy claimed she shot herself rather than face justice. Hendricks backed his story to the governor. But you know different. I know I heard 2 shots. I know Emma never missed what she aimed at. And I know she aimed straight at that deputy's black heart. What happened to the baby? Died with her. Silence stretches between them like a chasm. Finally, Sarah speaks into the quiet. The deputy who killed her? Mountain took him. Hunting accident the next winter. His horse spooked, threw him off Eagle's Cliff. Mountain got a long memory. Longer than most folks realize. Sarah touches her belly without thinking. Jacob's eyes catch the movement. Sarah, you carrying? Her eyes fill with tears she won't let fall in front of him. 3 months. Hendricks, no. Why you think he married me so quick? The sky turns the color of old blood. Deep red spreading across the horizon, like a wound that won't heal. Wind howls through the pines with voices that sound almost human. Storm's coming. Sarah stands at the window, one hand pressed against the glass, the other resting on her belly. Her reflection wavers in the dirty pane. That ain't no regular storm. Jacob joins her at the window. The air tastes of copper and electricity, heavy with something unnatural, something old. Blood moon comes every 20 years. Same night Emma died? Same night. Lightning flickers across the darkened sky without thunder. The mountain seems to breathe around them, expanding and contracting like living lungs. You feel that? Feel what? Like something's waking up. Jacob nods grimly, his weathered face carved with shadows. Mountain's got its own justice. Takes time, but it always comes. That's superstition. Emma used to say the same thing. A branch crashes against the cabin wall with the sound of breaking bones. Sarah jumps, her hand flying to her throat. I'm scared, Jacob. Good. Fear keeps you alive. Not scared of dying. Scared of bringing this baby into the same hell I lived through. Then we don't let that happen. How? Hendricks has the law, has the men, has the power. Power ain't everything. Easy to say when you're not carrying his child. Jacob turns from the window, his eyes searching her face. That baby his? Sarah's silence stretches like a rope about to snap. Sarah, he said it was my duty. Said his daddy and granddaddy built this county with their blood. Said I should be honored to carry on the family name. Honored. Said I was continuing the bloodline that made this place what it is. Jesus Christ. Another lightning flash illuminates the cabin. In its brief, harsh light, Sarah looks like a ghost. Pale, haunted, ancient beyond her 28 years. There's something else. What? The other women. The ones who came before me. What other women? Hendricks keeps pictures. In his desk drawer locked away. 7 women over the years. All look like me. Dark hair, small build, same desperate eyes. What happened to them? Gone. All of them. Some ran away, he said. Some died in childbirth. Some just disappeared into the mountain and never came back. Jacob's blood goes cold in his veins. Emma had dark hair. I know. Small build. I know. Thunder finally follows the lightning, rolling across the valley like the voice of God himself. The storm is almost here. Sarah, I think Emma wasn't the first woman they killed. And I won't be the last. Not if I can help it. Dawn breaks gray and violent across the mountain. 6 horses circle the cabin like vultures waiting for death. Jacob Miller, send out my wife. Hendricks sits tall in his saddle. 5 armed men spread behind him in a semicircle. Jacob recognizes them through the window. The banker's son with his soft hands and hard eyes. 2 farm hands who need the deputy's money more than their conscience. Old Pete from the general store, looking sick about being here. And a stranger with dead eyes who probably kills for pleasure. She ain't your wife. Loss is different. Sarah loads Jacob's spare rifle with hands that shake like autumn leaves. The metal clicks cold and final. How many bullets we got? Enough for 6 shots. 6 men. I only need one. Which one? The right one. Hendricks dismounts with the confidence of a man who's never lost a fight. His boots hit the ground heavy as coffin nails. I'm giving you one chance. Old man, send her out peaceful, and we'll forget you harbored a fugitive. And if I don't, then we burn you out like the rats you are. Sarah appears beside Jacob at the window, rifle ready. Her face has changed. Gone is the frightened girl. In her place stands something harder. Can I clean your cabin for a plate of food? She whispered to a lonely mountain man. He froze. The cabin door creaks open. Sarah stands there like a ghost made flesh. 28 years old, but her eyes carry decades. Dirt streaks her hollow cheeks. Her clothes hang loose, torn at the seams. She clutches a flour sack against her chest like it holds her last hope. Can I clean your cabin for a plate of food? The words hit Jacob like a physical blow. His knuckles go white against the doorframe. 45 years of mountain living, and he's never felt this frozen. The beard can't hide the shock spreading across his weathered face. What did you say? I can work. I'm good with my hands. Just need something to eat. Jacob's eyes dart to those hands. Small, calloused, shaken with hunger or fear, or both. Same hands. Same desperate words. 20 years ago, another woman stood on this same threshold speaking the same prayer. Who sent you? Nobody sent me. I've been walking 3 days. Walking from where? Down the mountain. The Hendricks place. Jacob's jaw tightens like a steel trap. Old Sheriff Hendricks died last winter, finally claimed by whiskey and meanness. His son Thomas took over the badge and the family land. Took over everything that came with the name. What happened at the Hendricks place? Sarah's eyes fill with unshed tears, but they don't spill. She's learned not to cry in front of strangers. Learned not to show weakness to men who might use it against her. You gonna let me work or not? Something in her voice breaks through his paralysis. Jacob steps aside, watches her cross the threshold into his sanctuary. That's when he sees them. Purple bruises wrapped around her wrists like twisted jewelry. Finger-shaped marks, fresh enough to still carry heat. What's your name? Sarah. Sarah what? Just Sarah. She won't give him more, because more means questions. Questions mean explanations. Explanations mean reliving whatever hell she's running from. Jacob understands a weight of unspoken names. He's carried his own secrets for 20 years, buried them deep as winter graves. The cabin feels smaller with her inside it. Her presence disturbs the careful silence he's built around his grief. But something else stirs too. Something he thought died with Emma. The need to protect. The need to stand between innocence and the wolves that hunt it. Sarah sets down her flour sack and looks around his sparse home. No judgment in her gaze, only relief at finding walls between her and whatever darkness chases her down the mountain. Sarah moves through the cabin like water, efficient and quiet. Every movement speaks of practice, of hard lessons learned young. Jacob watches from his weathered chair, coffee growing cold in his hands. The steam rises between them like the ghosts he's been running from. You don't have to watch me. Habit. She drops to her knees, starts scrubbing the worn wooden floor. Same way Emma used it 20 years ago. Same gentle circles. Same careful attention to corners where dirt likes to hide. The sight cuts through him like winter wind. How long you been alone up here? Long enough. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. Sarah pauses in her work, looks up at him with eyes that have seen too much. You got a wife? Jacob's grip tightens on his coffee cup until his knuckles show white against the ceramic. Had one. What happened to her? She died. How? Questions cost extra. Sarah returns to scrubbing, but Jacob can feel her studying him from the corner of her eye. The silence stretches between them, heavy with unspoken truths. That's when he notices it. A locket around her neck, tarnished silver catching what little light filters through his dirty windows. That's pretty. Her hand flies to the locket, like she's protecting a secret. It was my mama's. She dead too. Everyone's dead. The simple words hang in the air like smoke. Jacob studies her profile while she works. Sharp cheekbones carved by hunger, mouth set in determined lines. fighter's face hiding a broken heart, just like Emma's was. Hendricks' boy give you them bruises? Sarah's scrubbing stops cold. I don't know what you mean. I ain't blind, girl. She stands slow, wringing the dirty rag in her hands. Water drips between her fingers like tears she won't let fall. Deputy Hendricks is a good man. Good men don't leave marks. Maybe I fell. Maybe you're lying. Sarah's eyes flash with anger and something deeper. Pride, maybe, or shame. Maybe that's my business. Jacob nods slowly, recognizing the walls she's built around her pain. He knows about walls. He spent 20 years building his own. Maybe it is. He stands, walks to his small kitchen, returns with a plate of beans and cornbread. The food is simple but warm. Eat. Sarah stares at the plate, like it might disappear if she blinks. I ain't finished cleaning. Eat first. Work after. She sits at a small table, the same one where Emma used to sit. When she takes her first bite, the tears finally come. Not the desperate sobs of the broken, but the quiet weeping of someone who's forgotten what kindness tastes like. Horse hooves crunch on gravel outside. Jacob peers through the dusty window, his gut twisting with recognition. Shit. Sarah looks up from her plate, fork halfway to her mouth. What? Deputy's coming. Her fork clatters against ceramic like breaking bones. No. Get in the back room. He'll find me. Not if you're quiet. Deputy Hendricks dismounts with the swagger of a man who owns everything he sees. 35 years old, badge gleaming on his chest like a medal of honor. His boots pound against the porch boards like a death march. Jacob, open up. Jacob waits, lets him knock again, makes him work for it. What you want, Hendricks? Looking for someone. Young woman, dark hair, goes by Sarah. Don't know no Sarah. Mind if I look around? I mind plenty. Hendricks pushes past him anyway, his authority as solid as the gun on his hip. His eyes sweep the cabin like a predator marking territory. They land on the table. 2 plates, 2 forks, evidence of secrets. Eating for 2 now. Sometimes I'm extra hungry. That right? Hendricks picks up Sarah's fork, metal still warm from her grip. Real hungry. State your business, or get out. My business is my wife. Jacob keeps his face blank as stone, but inside something cold spreads through his chest. Didn't know you were married. As of 3 days ago. Had a real nice ceremony. Except the bride ran off before we could consummate. The word drips from his mouth like poison. Jacob's hands clench into fists at his sides. Maybe she had second thoughts. Maybe she needs reminding about her duties. From the back room comes a small sound, a breath, a whimper. Hendricks' head snaps toward it like a hunting dog catching scent. What was that? Mice. Loud mice. Hendricks moves toward the back room with predatory grace. Jacob steps between him and the door, blocking his path like a mountain blocking wind. You got a warrant? Don't need one. Looking for my property. Your property? My wife. Same thing in the eyes of God and law. Jacob's hand moves slow and deliberate to the rifle hanging above the mantel. The metal feels cold and certain under his palm. Not in my house it ain't. You threatening an officer of the law? I'm stating a fact. The 2 men stare each other down across 20 years of buried hatred. Hendricks sees the steel in Jacob's eyes and recognizes something dangerous. Something that won't bend.